If Chimaev were to cross your mind in 2020, one of the first things that would pop into your head would probably be his activity. After all, it's one of the main things that made him into the star he is today. He made the fastest turnaround only 10 days after his debut and went on to knock out a guy from a weight class above only a month later. However, since then, we barely see him enter the cage. Many assume he may have suffered multiple injuries during training, or that he had encountered problems with the anti-doping agency. But where the actual reason may stem from is due to his ties with the Russian warlord Ramzan Kadyrov. Chimaev has recently been denied entry into the US and has changed his nationality without explanation. So, what is the actual reason we aren't seeing Chimaev in the octagon that often? To understand this, we need to start with what led him to this point in the first place. Coming into the UFC, Chimaev appeared as just another fighter from the region of Russia that brought in so many dominant wrestlers during that time. However, since Chimaev entered the cage and made his first opponent look like an amateur, it was clear there's something unique about him. Unlike many fighters from Dagestan and Chechnya who come across as quiet and stoic people, Chimaev was the complete opposite. And despite his limited English, he wasted no time in trash-talking half of the roster.
How many fights did you think you would have to have before you got to the title?
I think now 2 more.
Two more now?
Yeah.
For which title though?
Doesn't matter for me.
No?
We both guy. Maybe some the same day, both fights.
Combine this with an extremely high and aggressive wrestling style, and you get a fighter fans can't wait to see fight again. And at the time, they really didn't have to wait for too long. Only 10 days after his debut, Chimaev accepted a fight on short notice in a weight class above and blitzed through his opponent as if he had never trained a day in his life.
Is MMA just an easy sport for you?
Of course it's easy for me. I'm born from this country. When I was a kid, it was war in my country. Like everybody knows Chechnya, say like before how they was. And I like to fight in the cage and smash somebody. It's too easy. That's too easy. As you smash somebody, you get money, brother. It's perfect for me.
He broke the record for the fastest consecutive wins in modern UFC history and left many talking about the Chechen that may take over the sport in no time.
The guy's special. I've been in this game my whole life. I've never seen anything like him. He's special, he's different. He wants to fight again. So, you know, I've never been in a position where I'm like, who's next? How do we get him a fight? How do we get him over here? How do we do this? How do we do that?
With only 2 fights for the organization and very bad English, he had managed to break into the mainstream media, something very few UFC fighters were capable of. After creating so much buzz around himself, he was back in the octagon only 7 weeks later to face Gerald Meerschaert once again in a weight class above. This time, he abandoned the wrestling and let everyone know he is a danger on his feet as well, and knocked him out with the very first punch he threw.
Everybody say, "You Khabib, number 2," something like that, but I'm Khamzat. I can knock out people, like submit the people, smash the people, everything. I have everything.
We often hear from many fighters about fighting anyone, anywhere, anytime. But when push comes to shove and a late notice opportunity comes around, many of them won't actually live by those words. Chimaev was different though. After just 66 days into his UFC career, he was 3-0 with 3 flawless performances, being hit once, maybe twice in all of his fights.
You know I'm driving the train.
You're all about that train.
Hey, what about when he made his debut and you had to tell me his name?
You didn't.
That was like 3 fights ago.
66 days ago. Well, technically, I guess it's like 68 now. But DC, what about these numbers? Total strikes: 124-2 against John Phillips in his debut, 68-0 against Reese McKee, and 4-0 against Joe Meerschaert. He knocks Joe Meerschaert out.
Following his first year inside the organization and 3 quick finishes, people were already calling for him to fight a top 5 guy and get fast-tracked to the title. But this was where things started to get weird. Chimaev was scheduled to face Leon Edwards, but after contracting COVID was forced to pull out. And despite being a high-level athlete, Chimaev's COVID symptoms wouldn't go away, and he required surgery to treat them.
Yeah, lungs, I feel pain there, like when I blood, like when I come out sometimes. And like think too much, you know, like think too much like about when I gonna be healthy, when I can fight, when I can go train, you know, like that make me like this post I did, you know, like maybe it's finished for me, like something like that.
It was so bad, he took to Instagram to announce his shock retirement from MMA. And while the post may have just been an emotional reaction to his illness, this is where his connection with Chechen's Warlord started to tighten. That same day, the head of the Chechen Republic, Ramzan Kadyrov, claimed he had called Chimaev and convinced him to continue fighting.
What's wrong on? They said maybe cancer, maybe not. He said, no, you're not cancer, come on, come back home and we help you. And then you're gonna go, promise me I'm gonna help you with being healthy. Promise me you come back to the cage. I said, okay, brother, we do it.
Although the skeptics out there believe Kadyrov loved that Chimaev was putting Chechnya on the map and pressured him into the decision. But who exactly is Ramzan Kadyrov, and why does the head of the Chechen Republic get involved in the UFC? Kadyrov has been the ruler in the southern region of Russia known as Chechnya since 2007. He's close friends with Vladimir Putin, has a list of horrid crimes attached to his name, and is obsessed with using sport as a tool to prop both himself and Chechnya up. Over the years, Kadyrov has been linked to the disappearance and torture of numerous political rivals, journalists, or anyone who goes against his totalitarian regime. He's rumored to own a private prison, control his own army known as the Kadyrovites, and in 2017 was linked to the mass killing and purge of homosexual men in Chechnya.
У нас таких людей нету. Нету у нас геев. Если есть, заберите в Канаду. Хвала Аллаху. Подальше от нас. Аузу билляхи мин шайтанир раджим. Чтобы не было. Чтобы очистили кровь. Если есть таких, пусть забирают.
These suspected crimes led to the USA, European Union, and many more countries sanctioning Kadyrov and anyone who associates with him. But sport has historically been a vehicle that Kadyrov has used to portray himself as a peaceful and friendly leader. He's organized football games against Chechnya and Brazil, has been seen with Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, and many more. In recent years, though, MMA has been a big focus of Kadyrov's. He opened his own gym in 2014, created his own organization, and is often seen arm in arm with UFC fighters. To many, it comes as no surprise that Chimaev is Kadyrov's favorite fighter, as he is representing Chechnya on a world stage, and in Kadyrov's eyes, is the embodiment of what a Chechen citizen should be. And as a result, Kadyrov has taken the fighter under his wing. Chimaev is frequently seen coaching or cornering Kadyrov's sons, accepting lavish gifts, inviting Kadyrov to his wedding, and featuring in Kadyrov's propaganda footage.
I even saw the Chechen leader, how do you say his? Ramzan? He surprised you with a Mercedes-Benz?
Yeah, after 3 times.
3 Benzes?
Three
Benzes?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Like, you just go hang out with him and then he just surprised you with the car?
He likes the sport and fighting. There's a lot of fighters being there, there's not being there, there's stuff, some, I don't know what they do. He likes the older Mike Tyson being there, but Mayweather being there. Yeah, the guys get the money, for sure.
And this link between politicians and fighters in Russia is much more deep-rooted than just Kadyrov and Chimaev. For example, when Khabib beat Conor, Vladimir Putin reportedly gifted Khabib property worth up to $20 million as a reward. And McGregor highlighted that Khabib was funded by the now imprisoned Russian oligarch Magomedov. And when you think about it, Khamzat's relationship with Kadyrov isn't all that different. And while Kadyrov's gifts and money are positive for Chimaev at face value, it's come with a lot of backlash. Chimaev has continually shown his support for the people of Palestine during their ongoing battle with Israel, and after beating Kamaru Usman at UFC 294, called for peace in Ukraine, Syria, Afghanistan, and anywhere where war is afoot.
I wasn't happy in the cage fight this week or see the kids dying. It doesn't matter, whatever in the world, Ukraine and Syria, Afghanistan, Palestine, USA, doesn't matter. When kids die, it's hard, guys. I love the kids.
Yet the incredible irony is that Kadyrov is an active participant in Russia's war on Ukraine, but Chimaev will still frequently be seen with him. In fact, Chimaev was even present with Kadyrov when he threatened to murder a 15-year boy on Instagram Live who mocked his regime.
Я найду тебя, да, и мы посмотрим, да, кто из нас шайтан. Ты ночами не спать, да, сейчас завещание делать, если я умру, помогите моей семье, да. Я очень много шайтанов там уничтожал, да, и тебя тоже уничтожил.
And who knows, maybe Chimaev feels forced to play ball with Kadyrov. After all, if the criminal leader of your area showers you in gifts, wines and dines you, in the interest of your safety, it may be wise to accept.
Kadyrov, hur skulle du beskriva den relationen?
Ja, det skulle beskriva. Vänta.
Vill du avbryta intervjun?
Vadå?
Vill du avbryta intervjun? Tack så mycket för intervjun.
Because in the past, being Kadyrov's poster boy hasn't always worked. Before him, Kadyrov's favorite fighter was Abdulkerim Edilov. Edilov only fought once in the UFC. Instead, he moved to politics where he became Chechnya's second in command. That was until Edilov fell out of favor. He was seen less and less around Kadyrov and announced his resignation as the deputy prime minister in November 2022. But the following month, Edilov wound up mysteriously dead. And no one knows how or why, but the majority of Chechens suspect Kadyrov was behind it. And while Chimaev is in a vastly different situation and isn't in danger, he can't turn down Kadyrov's offers. Back in 2016, legendary Russian fighter Fedor Emelianenko spoke against an MMA event that Kadyrov held, which featured young children competing against one another. He stated, "What happened at the tournament in Grozny is unacceptable and cannot be justified. Needless to say that kids under age of 12 cannot even attend MMA fights as spectators. But here we had little ones as young as 8, beating each other up in front of happy adults." Fedor was met with a lot of hate, and his then 16-year-old daughter was attacked and taken to hospital, with many people thinking it was Kadyrov's supporters to blame. In short, Kadyrov is a frightening man.
У нас сильное государство, ядерная держава. Если даже наше государство полностью разрушит, автоматически наши ядерные ракеты полетят там. И весь мир мы перевернем, знаешь, рака поставим.
In fact, Chimaev's friendship to Kadyrov may be the reason why we don't see him in the octagon all that much anymore. Ever since Chimaev's link with Chechen politics began, his activity has dropped massively in the UFC. His first 3 UFC fights took place within just 66 days of each other. Now, his last 4 fights span over 900 days. And while of course you can't be fighting top-ranked guys every couple of months like Chimaev at the beginning of his UFC career, clearly something has happened behind the scenes.
What has been the issue with keeping Khamzat busy? Is it been travel issues? Has it been his schedule? What's the issue with keeping Khamzat busy?
Well, there's been issues in the past. Hopefully there's not issues now. Hopefully his hand's not broken, and hopefully we can do this title fight.
He's gone from smashing everybody to rarely fighting and calling people out on Twitter instead. Some fans are claiming it's a combination of his long COVID symptoms plus the hand injuries and illnesses he suffered. But a very believable theory is that his ties to Kadyrov are preventing him from entering the USA. After all, Chimaev hasn't competed in the USA since he ragdolled Kevin Holland all the way back in September 2022. And looking at his social media, it's been some time since he's been in the country. The ongoing geopolitical tensions between the US and Russia have made it extremely difficult for Russian athletes to travel, and that's what Chimaev's team are claiming. But the true reason may be due to his ties with Kadyrov. So instead, Chimaev has been granted a visa for Abu Dhabi and is working on a citizenship in the UAE that would help him in being able to travel to America. But for now, Chimaev isn't able to access or fight in America, and it's hurting his career. The UFC don't want Chimaev as champion if he can't compete in the US. Which may be why, despite Dana White confirming the winner of Usman and Chimaev would be next in line for the belt, Chimaev is taking on Robert Whittaker in Saudi Arabia instead. And this cloud that looms over his career likely isn't going anywhere. He can't just up and leave from Kadyrov's side. The only silver lining is that as MMA becomes more popular in the Middle East, there will be more opportunities for Chimaev to get back to that guy who smashes someone every few weeks yet again.